For today, I'm giving you a little bit of instruction. If you didn't come with an idea in mind for what robot you want to build, like if you're a history teacher and you really want to try out those history bots, if you don't have an idea, I'd like you to try the theme of summer, kind of summer-themed robots. I'm really excited because it's warm and nice out. So you can do beaches, volleyball, barbecues, whatever your favorite part of summer is, or like flowers, anything kind of summer-related would be really awesome. And when you're building your robot, I want you to use at least one sensor. Don't forget to use a sensor. And two outputs. That can be one servo and one LED. That can be two servos. I just want your robot to have two different actions it has at minimum. You can do more, but that's the minimum. At the end, by 4:20, and I'm really a softie, so sometimes I let people go over, but I'm going to try to be firm and say 4:20. I want you to have both your robot built and programmed. Okay? So in about 50 minutes, I'm going to start saying, start programming, start programming, start programming. So you have at least a half hour to write your program. Okay? Now I'll give you a quick tour of what we have for you. We have all of these beautiful craft materials. These are the kind of the decorative materials. We have feathers and pom-poms and googly eyes and foam and fabric and fur. If anyone wants to make like a cow, I don't know if that has much to do with summer, but there you have it. It's very nice. We have then structural materials for the robots. So when you build a robot, you need both the decorations and the structure. And so we have all this cardboard and plastic bottles. And I really love using recycled materials for building robots, A, because it's free, and B, because the robots you build end up being a lot more interesting. If you have just flat pieces of cardboard, you kind of get flat two-dimensional robots. But if you're using bottles, you get really cool three-dimensional robots that are bottle-shaped. We're going to have those same boys who talked about their fire and ice robot kind of give you a behind-the-stage tour of how their robot worked. And so hopefully you should now be able to recognize all of the robot components they used in their robot.
We're going to do a behind-the-scenes tour.
Well, to start off, we have our door here that's kind of hidden. I thought that was pretty neat. It comes up because of
this fishing line.
Yeah, there's a fishing line there.
You can see that.
And then underneath it, we have a pillar of fire that lights up and spins.
And then there's the servo that lifts it up down there. Here's the 360 motor that it spins on, and here's the LED.
We also have our snow mechanism,
which is just a, yeah, it does that. And we have the little servo arm. It's just basically popsicle sticks
that push it to open the door.
Yep. And then we have the marble track, which just is cardboard. And then we have our little flashlight contraption down at the bottom with a light sensor.
Yep. The marbles come down the track and through the funnel, which pulls the paper away from the light sensor where the flashlight shines on it and starts the program.
And then we have our little, what's
lights
it called?
Down in
ice,
there.
Yeah. And also we have our two blue LEDs, our little logo that we designed. And we have the flip fire, which flips around
and displays a very creepy picture of fire.
Thank you,
and we hope you enjoyed the show.
Yeah, thanks, and we hope you enjoyed the show.
So that's a robot they made. They spent a fair amount of time actually after school making it because they got really into it. But so that's that's one robot. And that's a little bit more elaborate than you're going to be making today, since you only have like an hour and a half to make your robot. So this is more along the lines of what I want you to be thinking about. This is an angler fish, like a deep sea fish that attracts little fish into its mouth with its light. So I'll let you watch this video. Yeah, so this robot has two servos in it. One that moves its little fishing rod up and down in front of it, its bell. A servo that opens and closes the jaw of the robot. It has actually a tricolor LED behind the eye. It's a little hard to see, but you can see it's green, and when the fish swims in, it turns red. So you can kind of watch right behind the eye, it has a tricolor LED. See? It's a little hard to notice. And finally, it also actually has a distance sensor. That's how it tells it when the little fish is in its mouth. But because a distance sensor can only see between 3 feet and 3 inches, the distance sensor is actually at the tail of the robot facing forward. So that when it gets within like 6 inches, it triggers the fish to start chopping away. Okay, I'll show you one more example robot before we have a little break. Well, I think she actually explains it, but, oh no, she doesn't. This is a moth. And for those of you who don't know the story of the first computer bug, back when computers were the size of this room, you know, there were lots of exposed electronics. And one time, one of these big computers wasn't doing the program correctly. It wasn't working. And so they went in to figure out what was wrong. And they pulled out this moth and were like, in the journal, they wrote something along the lines of, found a bug in the computer today, blah, 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 blah. And so, you know, it's kind of funny for computer scientists, because now we call software errors bugs. And so this is kind of a commemoration of that moth.
This is our moth, and if you hit this light directly on the light sensor, you can zap the moth.
Yeah, you don't want a minute long.
Because that's what happened to the moth when it got stuck in the computer. So, and then here are a couple more examples. This is a Gorgon coin with Medusa. You know the story of Medusa, saw a mirror of herself turned to stone. This is Alexander the Great, Captain Hook. This is, I don't know if any of you guys teach preschool, young students, but this is based on a book that this teacher uses with her young students about filling up a bucket and sharing. And so that's like a fun bucket where they learn to share. And this is Audrey 2 from The Little Shop of Horrors, that musical, the man-eating plant. So that's what that is.